you know. Oh! Hey guys! Jack here. So, since we're officially in the first week of the new year, I figure it's time we look over the series that kind of rebuilt Kamen Rider and go from the series after that. We're looking at the Neo Heisei series. Now, let me clarify. The original Heisei series went from Kamen Rider's Kuga to Decade. But after Decade, there was a big timeline crunch, as some people like to call it, where basically every rider and Toku world were merged together, which would A, allow for user crossovers, and B, just make things a little simpler. Unfortunately, they still did have to worry about conflicting continuity, but aside from that, it was probably just to make things a lot easier. And so, now, Neo Heisei is the series that is after Decade, going to the final series until the Reiwa era. Now, let me clarify. When series premieres people usually categorize their series by the time they premiered it. So the last Neo Heisei series is still considered a Heisei series to people. This is the same thing that happened with the last Showa entry, Black RX. Well, it premiered in the Showa era, but its run also went into the first year of the Heisei era, but it's still considered a Showa era. Now, there are also 3 movies: Kamen Rider Zeto. Z is how most people outside of America say the letter Z, Zet, Kamen Rider J, and Kamen Rider Shin. Those are still considered Showa entries because they had the influence of Kamen Rider's creator, Shotaro Ishimori. I apologize to the guy if I'm not pronouncing his name right, though it doesn't really help that he's already kind of dead. Anyway, back to Neo Heisei. So we're going over the first series of that entry, Kamen Rider Double. Now, I personally like to judge Kamen Rider entries on their opening. This one being WBX. And it is a great opening. Kamen Rider Double is a combination between Kamen Rider and a detective noir show. And thus the opening combines detective noir music like a sax and cool vibes with rock. It is a great meld, and when you see the opening, how it defines this city, defines the place this takes in, Futo, also known as the Windy City, you just get into the groove of things. And you just get into the groove of things. But what's the but luckily, as far as I know, there is a music video. There's a music video of this theme on YouTube. So I look up Kamen Rider Double WBX and check it out for yourselves. But let's get into the plot of Double. So in the city of Futo, there is this organization known as Museum, which use Gaia memories. Gaia memories are basically like drugs, if I can make a comparison here. The more someone uses it, the more addicted they get. If somebody uses it too long, they eventually lose they're still themselves, but they lose all sense of right and wrong. Now, Gaia memories are usually given by museum dealers. And depending on and the more obscure a memory is, the more powerful it is. Like, say, one memory is a very obscure word with the letter B. That monster, also known as a dopant or dopey mutant, get it? Because Gaia memories are technically like drugs. go completely crazy. Yeah. And I forgot to bring up something on my Kamen Rider Wiki page for clarity's sake. Let me fix that real quick. Yep, there we go. But luckily, not all is wrong. A hard-boiled... Dang it, I thought this update would fix this. Oh well. A hard-boiled detective named Shotaro Hidori, which I'm pretty sure they named him that in honor of Kamen Rider's creator, but that's just me. And his partner Philip, who we later learn is actually the long-lost son of museum's leaders, the Sonozaki family, have their own Gaia memories. So they fight as hard-boiled detectives to protect the city itself and her people, known as Kamen Rider W. Yeah, here's another thing I forgot to mention earlier when I went over the recap. You can actually call him Kamen Rider Double or Kamen Rider W. It kind of tends to vary. It's just weird as all. Either way, I think there's no wrong way to pronounce this. You can either call him Kamen Rider Double or Kamen Rider W. I tend to go back and forth on my pronunciations. I don't think I'm wrong when saying this, but if you guys prefer... So, don't be afraid to say both times, but if you guys just prefer to say one way or the other, that's okay too. Anyway, our main writers are Shotaro and Philip. Now, Shotaro is the hard-boiled detective. I'm not getting into what that means. His big heart lead him to people calling him a fool and half-boiled, you can interpret being a hard-boiled detective in different ways. Many different ways. I think what Shotaro's actor is going for as a hard-boiled detective is that you can be tough and strong on the outside, but never but always have hope for the world. At least that's my opinion. And then there's his partner Philip, who, as I mentioned, is the youngest member of museum's leaders, the Sonozaki family. I'm not gonna get into more of that. However, Philip had amnesia, and it gets kind of weird there. But I'll get into that. Philip also has the ability to access the Gaia Library, a library where a place inside the Earth that basically has all human knowledge. And by Shotaro giving Philip specific keywords that he finds in his cases, Philip can look up for the exact answer. Now, let's get into their rider weaponry. Oh no. Damn it. Sorry guys, I think I accidentally closed something again. And I went too far. Sorry guys. Here we go. Anyway, like I mentioned before, their main transformation items are the Gaia memories. But unlike Gaia memories used by Dopants, these ones are more refined. While they are less powerful than Gaia memories that Dopants use, they're still very powerful. Now, each memory uses three. Each part double uses 3 memories. Philip uses memory that have to do with soul. That being the Cyclone, Heat, and Luna memories. While Shotaro's has to do with the body. That being the Joker, Metal, and Toriga memories. No, I do not regret saying it like that. I have fun. Anyway, their main Anyway, their main transformation belt is the double driver. Now, their bodies don't actually merge yet. What I mean by that? Well, Shotaro actually has the physical belt that he puts on his body, and whenever he does that, another one will appear on Philip's waist. They will both activate their memories. Shotaro's memory going into the right slot, while Philip's goes into the left. Now, instead of merging bodies, they actually merge minds. With Philip's body basically becoming a limp, but basically becoming a sack of potatoes. I'm not kidding. As a result, Philip usually has to have someone drag him away from the battle, or has to be in an area away from the battle where his body cannot be so easily attacked. Anyway, their main form is Cyclone Choka! Again, don't regret saying it like that. Anyway, this is supposed to be a reference to... Anyway, this is known as the fast... This is also known as the fast skilled warrior. And it's one of W's most balanced forms, combining the punching and kicking power of the Joker memory with the speed and agility of the Cyclone memory. Now each finisher is known as a memory break. It doesn't kill the person using the dope using a Gaia memory. While it does make them explode, yes, seriously, all it really does is destroy the dopant body. It may leave the human injured, but it doesn't kill them. And it doesn't injure them enough to leave them on the brink of death. It does, however, break the Gaia memory, aka destroy it. Now, most of the finishers are used by this, the maximum slot. And, what I also like about Double, they name their finishers! I like when Kamen name their finishers. But that's just me. Anyway, by inserting memory into the maximum slot, they can perform, they can perform said finisher. The first one is the Joker Extreme. Reading from the wiki here, after inserting the Joker memory in the maximum slot, Double's body splits down the middle and descends on the target. Usually after a cyclone pulls them into the air. I guess they forgot to add that part. Oops. Yikes. Okay. Anyway, next comes another version of Cyclone. Cyclone Metal. And you see that weapon there? Well, we're gonna have to go past... Well, let's go ahead and cover that, shall we? This is the metal shaft. It can only be accessed when using the metal memory. Now, the metal shaft has a closed mode has a short staff mode for enclosed areas for enclosed areas, and a long staff mode for longer areas. Now, I should also go ahead and go over the memory gadgets, which are basically everyday objects that can transform, that have different forms, and can actually be used with Gaia memories for their own version of maximum drives. They can also be used as everyday objects. First is the stacked bone, which has two copies, one used by Shotaro, the other by Philip. Now, like the name suggests, it transforms into a flip phone. Next is the Spider Watch, which can transform into a wristwatch/spider. Now, it can shoot out webs and can also shoot out trackers that are, well, trackable. Next is the bat shot, which can act like a camera and a bat, which is good for taking... Which, like the name's... Which, like the name... Sorry, guys. Which, like the name suggests, can take different which can take special images. Later they get two new packages that allow them to create two new memories. First being the frog pod. Now this actually allows them to... Now, this works like an MP3 player, allowing them to take recordings. Next is the Den or Slug Sensor. Now, what purpose would a slug have? Well, it actually has a goggle mode, which allows them to... Which actually allows whoever uses it to gain enhanced vision. So, just thought of pulling the memory gadgets out now. Anyway, where's it going? Oh, right. Anyway, I also, actually, before we get back to that, I should go over the rider machines. And yes, I did use that in plural. Now, the main motorcycle the two use is known as the hard boiler, which again is a nice touch alluding to Double's main form, Cyclone Choker, with the front part of the motorcycle being black, and the back half being well green, as I screwed up before. Now, why did I say rider machines as in plural? Well, that's because actually they have this tank, the Revolve Gary, which is used for dealing with giant dome pots, but also carries multiple backs for the hard boiler. One being the turbine back, creating the hard turbler, and that's a hard word to say. Which replaces the green back half with a red half that grants it wings and allows the bike to fly. And that is awesome. Next is the HardSplasher, replacing it with a yellow half. And now I think about it, these colors are actually... Hang on. Sorry, got an itch. Oh, there we go. Now I think about it, these kind of remind... Now, to think about it, and I probably should have noticed this earlier, their color, each half is colored after Philip's memory, while the front half is colored after Choka! Yes, I will be saying it like that every time we get to a Joker form. Don't judge me! Anyway, the HardSplasher allows them to, well, move across the water. However, that doesn't mean the hard boiler doesn't get another upgrade. It actually gets three powerful engines on 6 sides, known as Start Dash mode, which is allowed for high-speed chases, and it can also be detached to slow down any chasing adversaries. Now, I should go over this one. The Hard Gunner. The Hard Gunner is used by our secondary rider as its own personal well. Basically, it serves the same form that the other parts of the Revolve Gary do. But it can also connect to the hard boiler. which I think is actually pretty cool. Okay, anyway, now that we got that out of the way, this is known as the Windy Warrior. Now, I won't be going over the combination memory breaks that can be used with... Actually, you know what? I should. I'm just hoping they're on the hard boiler. I mean the metal shaft. Sorry. Okay, anyway, while all three can be added, they're really not used. Usually only the stack phone is. Anyway, back to Metal, Cyclone Metal. Or, I should say, Cyclone Metal! I will do that for every Shotaro, every combo that uses a Shotaro memory. I am not sorry! And, anywho, this allows the metal shaft, when swung, to create blades of wind via the Cyclone memory. Now, its finisher is the Metal Twister. After inserting the metal memory into a slot that connects the two shafts, double spins around while swinging the metal shaft covered in a windy aura, which then he hits the enemy with. Yes, seriously. Where was it go? Oh, right. Okay, anyway, by putting the stack phone in the shaft, they can perform the stack metal break. Which actually allows them to create two pincer-like energy pincers from the metal shaft to attack the dopant with. Yes, seriously. Anyway, the next form is Cyclone Metal. Still not sorry. Anyway, this combines Shotaro. Uses the trigger memory in place of the Joker memory. Now, whenever trigger is used, it gives double access to the trigger magnum, which basically works like a regular magnum in gun mode. And whenever the trigger memory is inserted, that is pulled up to basically perform a small hand cannon. I find that pretty cool. Anyway, when firing the trigger magnum, the blast become enhanced by wind energy, allowing it to have a wider range. Now, its finisher is the trigger air burst. Now, by inserting the Cyclone memory instead of the trigger memory in the trigger magnum, double can fire multiple shots of pressurized air at the enemy. And since we're already on the subject of the trigger magnum, let's go ahead and see the maximum drives involving two of the gadget memories. Yeah, poor spider memory never gets used. Anyway, the finisher involving the stack phone is the trigger stack burst, crushing the dopants into between two pincer-like energy protection shot from the trigger magnum. By using the bat shot, it can perform double can use the trigger bat shooting, logging onto a target through the bat shot for a concentrated blast from the trigger magnum with pinpoint precision. Pinpoint precision. Wonder if anybody's trying to make a tongue twister out of that. Oh well. Next, we get into the forms using the heat memory. The first being heat Choka! Still not sorry! Anyway, whenever using the heat memory, this allows double to gain the power of pyrokinesis. For you Avatar Korribans, he basically becomes a firebender. Anyway, his maximum drive in this, however, despite the more punching and kicking power, it is still weaker than Cyclone Joker. Okay, not true. He does have greater punching and kicking power, but his speed and jumping height, his range speed and jumping height are very weak compared to Cyclone Joker. The finisher is Joker Grenade. By inserting the Joker memory into the maximum slot, double somersaults in mid-air. Then, similar to the Cyclone Joker Extreme, Double's body will split in two, with each half hitting the target with elemental energized hooks. A hook punch. Anyway, each memory, similar to Cyclone Joker, has a precise memory in order to act as maximum power. Next, this being heat metal is the best combination for the heat and metal memories. This is known as the Blazing Warrior. Once again, they gain access to the metal shaft, which allows them to coat the shaft in the two staff ends in fire energy and hit the opponent with concentrated heat. Its finisher is known as metal branding, which, after inserting the metal memory, Double allows either one or both halves of the metal ends of the metal shaft to ignite on fire and deliver a final blow to the opponent. The next form involving heat memory is heat Toriga! Anyway, this allows Double allow to coat the bullets similar to how he did Cyclone Toriga in fire energy for more powerful shots. Now, its main finisher is that of Trigger Explosion. After inserting the trigger memory into the Trigger Magnum, I'm saying trigger a lot, Double fires a constant stream of fire that melts the enemy completely. Shotaro was also forced in an encounter with a very powerful Dopant to combine the trigger explosion with another maximum drive, using his double slot, using the maximum slot on his belt. As such, he needs to insert the heat memory into said slot, which allows Double to blast out a massive fireball. However, Double can't do that. He can't use multiple memory maximum drives, as it has a major backlash on Shotaro's body, as causing him to get very injured. And they couldn't take him to a hospital because any damage inflicted with a Gaia memory has to heal on its own. Luckily, their final form did correct that. Anyway, The next forms involve using the Luna memory. This being Luna Choka! Now, whenever a form uses the Luna memory, the left side double turns yellow, obviously, as you saw from the image, and gains the ability to stretch, and gains the ability to basically become Plastic Man. For you Marvel fans, Mr. Fantastic. Which allows him to stretch his body parts. Which is odd because it's known as the tricky skilled warrior in this form, so you think it'd be more illusion based. Anyway, the finisher is the Joker Strange. After inserting the Joker memory again into the maximum slot, again, double splits down the middle. The Lunar Half making 4 copies of itself in all, and execute rapid fire karate chops on the targets, because you got multiple copies. Multiple targets would seem more efficient. Then the Joker Hive strides close to finish off the target with a charged vertical chop. I'm not sorry. Anyway, next is Luna Metal, which uses the Metal memory. I'm in the middle of something. Thank you. Sorry, guys. Mom, she needed to do something. Moving on. Anyway, this allows them to wield the tricky staff. This is known as the Tricky Warrior. Now, in this form, the metal shaft can basically be used as a whip, with the 2 shaft ends being able to extend. And this form is actually lighter and faster than the other 2 forms that use the metal memory. The finisher is Metal Illusion. After inserting the metal memory into the metal shaft... Oh boy, I'm frozen. Hang on, guys.